Hey everybody, I'm Nathan with Life Shift Fitness. I'm here to answer some frequently asked fitness questions that I've been getting over the past several years that I've been a personal trainer. So the topic of today is how to use weight training for fat loss. We have 5 main things we'll go over today: popular misconceptions, best ways to lift for fat loss, should you try to lose fat while gaining muscle, keys to fat loss, and a side note. So let's jump right into it. So a popular misconception is you have to use high repetitions when you're cutting. Now, it does take energy to perform work. So whether that be manual labor, lifting weights, cardio, it all takes energy. So you are burning calories when you're doing physical activity. But it is a misconception that the reason why you're cutting up or getting toned is because you're doing more repetitions. The work that you are performing while you're performing any amount of repetitions pales in comparison to the amount of energy you expend while recovering from the workout, which means you're building and maintaining new muscle. So you could change your overall time in the gym, meaning instead of doing a 1-hour workout, you could work out for 4 hours. But is that really practical? I mean, how far does that go? You want to burn more calories, so you just work out 8 hours a day, right? No, I mean, that's not practical. So how practical is increasing the time? Well, you have some drawbacks of extending your workouts longer than an hour, hour and 15 minutes. Now, if you're chemically enhanced, you can probably tolerate a little bit longer workouts, but whether you're natural or enhanced, it really doesn't matter, because there is a certain amount of stress that starts to work against you once you incur so much stress from the workout. So we're talking about cortisol levels that eventually block mTOR, your muscle protein synthesis response. So that's a lot of scientific talk for, as the stress hormones go down, your anabolic response to a certain, past a certain threshold can be lowered. So we know that your testosterone level starts to drop off after a certain amount of training, and that's not good. But even as an enhanced athlete, your cortisol levels get so high it can start to be deleterious to your gains. So it's not just hormones, but let's talk about recovery, your capacity for recovery. You don't want to break your muscles down way further than you could recover them before your next gym session. It would make more sense to stimulate muscle growth 3 times a week rather than to completely obliterate your muscles once and not work out again for 7 days. So a good phrase that I like to use that I picked up along the way is, the goal is to stimulate, not annihilate the muscles. There's a certain threshold of work that you have to do to stimulate maximum muscle growth. And like I've said, the maximum muscle growth means the recovery and growth of the muscles takes a lot of calories. Now I'll talk more on that recovery process here in a minute, but you want that calorie expenditure coming from repairing your muscles. So you're working against yourself by breaking down the muscle fibers so far that they struggle just to return to their baseline strength level, meaning that the tears that you occur on a microscopic level in the muscles take until your next workout to repair, meaning you have no time for the muscle to actually grow. So stimulate, don't annihilate. So why is doing sets of 20 to 30 repetitions not extra helpful? Because the proximity to failure is the key, no matter what repetition range you're using. So what do I mean by proximity to failure? That means whether you're doing 5 repetitions in a set or 30 repetitions in a set, you want to use a weight that causes you to approach failure, maybe 1 or 2 repetitions away from failure, by the goal that you set, whether that be the 5 or the 30 repetitions. So if you bring a set close to muscular failure, that's a good signal for the muscle to grow. And that is what we're looking for in a workout. Again, doing 30 repetitions does not magically cut the muscle. It doesn't tone the muscle. It's not going to burn a significant extra amount of calories per unit work. The muscle grows because the fiber feels tension, so you're using enough weight, and your effort, so proximity to failure. So the best way to lift for fat loss, my recommendations. If you have strength goals, stay in a lower repetition range. So I'd stay below 8 repetitions if you have strength goals. I have a video on the best repetition ranges to use for strength gains. So I'll just go over that briefly now, but I have other video where I go more into detail. But singles and doubles, 1 rep maxes, 2 reps maximum weight, probably isn't the best way to go, because you would have to do at least 10 to 20 sets of singles or doubles to have enough training volume to stimulate maximum muscle growth. And that's all day in the gym. You don't want to do that. It's not efficient. I mean, you could, it's just you'd be better off doing 5 to 8 repetitions. Because 5 repetitions would definitely cause some great increases in strength, and 5 to 8 would also cause some hypertrophy or muscle growth. I instruct my clients to stay in the 8 to 12 rep range because it's the best of both worlds. Not only will you see steady increases in strength, but it tends to be the best repetition range for gaining new muscle tissue. So remember that when you are in a hypertrophy rep range, with a range of repetitions that's more stimulative for muscle growth, that growth of the muscle takes a lot of calories. It takes a lot of calories for your body to break down old structures, build new ones, and then maintaining that muscle, once it's built, is also calorie expensive. So that's win-win. So 5, 10, or 15 repetitions, it doesn't matter. Just get close to failure. Use a weight that lets you approach failure 1 or 2 repetitions away at the end of the set. So for most people, when you do a resistance exercise, it's going to cause an increase in your muscle protein synthesis for 48 to 72 hours. So that means that your body will be building muscle tissue faster than it's breaking it down, if your rates of muscle protein synthesis are increased. So that process of breaking down old structures, building new muscle, that takes a lot of energy. That's what we want. That's what's burning calories over time. And this period of recovery, where you're expending calories, is the best. Whereas where cardio, you'd only be burning calories while you're doing the cardio. Repairing your muscles in the recovery process from resistance exercise even happens when you sleep. So you're burning calories when you sleep. Once you put on a lot of muscle mass, or you have more muscle, then it takes more calories around the clock to maintain that muscle. So you actually increase your base metabolic rate. That's what you want. Can you lose fat while gaining muscle? If you have a lot of lifting experience over a year, you're probably not going to be able to lose fat while gaining muscle, unless you previously didn't know how to train or diet. So if you spent your first year of training eating pizza, not sleeping adequate amounts, doing too little or way too much volume in your workouts, meaning you're doing 1 set per muscle group or 10 sets per muscle group per workout, then bringing your dieting and training into a more optimal state could cause you to see some newbie gains, some of the kind of gains, the gain in muscle tissue and the fat loss that you would expect to see in the first 6 months of training. If you are brand new to training and dieting, then most likely, yes, you will be able to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Here I jokingly call newbie gains, the gains you get as a complete newbie. When your muscle is the most sensitive to growth, anything makes it grow, because going from doing nothing to doing something is very stimulative, even if that something is not optimal. Can you lose fat while gaining muscle? If you're new to training, if you hire me or a professional that can write a good program for you, teach you how to take an adequate amount of protein to support your workouts and maintain a healthy diet. That could cause some newbie gains even if you have 2 or 3 years experience. If you have a lot of weight to lose, then, and especially if you're new in the gym and have a lot of weight to lose, you can gain muscle and lose fat for a long period of time, because it takes a long time for your body to realize you're running low on energy. So if you start off and you're like, let's say skinny fat or decently lean, and you in the very beginning can gain muscle and lose fat, but eventually your body starts to sense there's a lack of energy, and so it's not going to want to build muscle that's calorie expensive, takes a lot of energy to build and maintain muscle. So if you're dieting, you're in a calorie deficit and you're decently lean, your body's not going to be really wanting to do that. It's going to be pretty reluctant to put on new muscle tissue. But if you are starting off with 100 pounds of fat, for example, that you want to lose, your body has energy stores to pull from for a long time, where it's likely to be able to build muscle and lose that fat for a good while. So how to lose weight? A calorie deficit. You want to be taking in less calories than you're expending. So what is the quickest and most sustainable way to lose fat? Use a systematic resistance exercise program with progressive overload. Now, what do I mean by that? So a systematic program means you've programmed to work every muscle group at least twice a week, and you have some sort of progression where you train each body part, let it rest, recover, and then train it again. The progressive overload means you're increasing either weight, repetitions, or sets, or a combination of all three throughout the progress of your workout from week to week, month to month. So that's essential to have an optimal workout while you're in a calorie deficit. So that calorie deficit needs to be a calculated calorie deficit. That means you find your amount of maintenance calories, or the amount of calories it takes to maintain your current weight. And then for most of my clients, I do a moderate 20 or 25% calorie decrease. So let's say, for example, someone's taking in 2,000 calories a day. A 25% reduction would be 1,500 calories. And stay on that for 12 weeks or until you start to plateau, and then you can either have a maintenance phase where you bring your calories up to a maintenance calorie level and let your metabolism heal, or you can implement some other form of cardio or somewhat else. A side note I'd like to share with you is don't skip leg day. So I have a favorite saying: friends don't let friends skip leg day. So why is it so imperative that you don't skip leg day? Well, let's look at the relative size of your leg muscles compared to other muscles in your body. So for example, your quadriceps, or the muscles on the front of your thigh, perform knee flexion, which means they straighten out your knee, just like your tricep does for your arm. So if you imagine your tricep being this size and the muscle on the front of your thigh being the size it is, it's multiple times larger, maybe 5 times larger, which means it's going to consume that many more times calories to perform work and recover and heal. So between your glutes or your butt muscles, your quadriceps on the front of your thigh, or the hamstrings on the back of your thigh, that makes up a large portion of the muscles, your overall muscles of your body. So by not working those, you're leaving a lot of unburnt calories on the table. Building up your leg muscles are just creating engines to burn calories. So do not skip leg day. Just a side note. So that's how you lift weights to lose fat. If you're confused on systematic or progressive programming, not sure how to find your maintenance calories or enter a calculated calorie deficit, or you don't feel like figuring out or you don't have the time to, you're in luck. You can just call me, hit me up, links in the description, and I'll be glad to help you out. I hope you enjoyed the video, found it informative. I'm Nathan with LifeShift Fitness. I'm a certified personal trainer and a licensed professor, and I'll see you in the next one.